Thanks, Shamik, for introducing me. Day two, post-lunch. I know the energy levels are not that great, but I'll keep it interesting and short. So I'm going to talk about vehicle tracking beyond track and trace. And over the next 15 minutes or so, I'll start with introducing DIMTS. A lot of you don't know about DIMTS. And then really get into the crux of this around how to take it from technology to practice, how to go beyond track and trace, and what can we look forward to in the coming years. DIMTS, short form for Delhi Integrated Multimodal Transit System, was a company that was formed in 2006 by the Delhi government, and later on, they formed a joint venture between Delhi government and IDFC Foundation, which is the umbrella body of IDFC Bank. IDFC Bank, for those of you who don't know, is the largest lending bank in India, and now they've got a retail banking license as well. A very strong organization, and the management of DIMTS sits with IDFC, while the chairman of the board is from the Delhi government, de facto as the chief secretary of Delhi government. So to that extent, we are a government body, but with the ethos of a private organization. Essentially, why was this organization formed? The reasons: Delhi government felt that we need to take our transit solutions to the next level, right? And we need to sort of have a differentiated effort towards it than just the run-of-the-mill, the day job that we continue to do. And so DIMTS was formed as a entity which will bring in the expertise across multimodal forms of transit in the public space. And our forte really is, while we do all of transit, but we particularly specialize in public service transport in the urban framework. Yeah? So all the different verticals that we have, and it's an interesting mix if you'll notice. We do a lot of advisory services for the government departments. We help frame policies. We provide a lot of consulting in the space of transit solutions. And if, for example, a government entity may want to, in a state government, they want to create a rapid bus solution. That's where we come into the play. We help design those solutions for them. Thank you. We do a lot of engineering work, engineering design work. Example, monorails, light rapid rail transport, to establishing bus corridors, designing flyovers, designing underpasses. We have a very strong engineering team around this. Further on, we obviously, for the topic, for the interest of the team here, we do a lot of stuff in the transport technologies. I'll kind of get into a little more details on that. We run a lot of transit operations as well. We run bus fleets, we run vehicle tracking across public service vehicles, across a large section of those. And the case study that I'm going to get into later will be around that. As we speak, we are now engaged with 18 different states across India. We're also working for 5 developing nations. Because what we have proved in the Delhi geography is something that a lot of states are interested in, exploring with us, as well as a number of developing countries. Lots of clients, partners, awards, a brief list of awards that we've been getting. With that, I'll move on to what we are here for today. But before that, let me set a context. In the public service space, and I'm going to focus on Delhi now. In Delhi, if you look at it, we are tracking all these kinds of vehicles. All tuk-tuks, auto rickshaws, autos, whatever you want to call them, have GPS, have GPS devices installed on them, which we have facilitated, and we monitor them real time, every 10 seconds. All the last mile connectivity vehicles, the vehicles which take people from the last metro stop to the borders of Delhi, etc., they are all covered under this scheme. All the public buses within Delhi, which run under the Transport Corporation of Delhi, are covered under this scheme. And interestingly, all the water tankers which provide water to the slum dwellers, etc., on a daily basis, it's a fleet of 800 odd water tankers. They are monitored very closely, because water in urban areas is a precious commodity. Not as precious as fuel, but still quite precious. We want to make sure they are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So that's the spectrum of what we do within vehicle tracking within Delhi. But what's important to note is the technology for vehicle tracking, and we've been talking technology since the last 1.5 days. And in fact, whatever David just mentioned and whatever was mentioned in the DHL presentation yesterday, it is about implementation, the complexities of the implementation with this technology. A GPS device in an auto is right in the fare meter. It's integrated in the fare meter, which is open for rain, dust, etc. There are a lot of those kind of challenges. Drivers don't want themselves to be monitored. That is a big deterrent. They would want to make sure the devices don't work. We have to build in the right set of incentives or penalties for them. Otherwise, these devices will get tampered, will get pilfered, will get stolen, right? We also want to make sure, from a safety perspective, that devices are tamper-proof. Once installed, they cannot be tampered with. If they get tampered with, there should be some alarms that should get, go to the regulators. We also need to look at the spectrum of these vehicles. These vehicles are, look at it, a bus plying on the city roads has a specified route and a specified schedule. It has certain different set of KPIs than a cab which never plies on a specified route and does not have a specified schedule. So the motivations of monitoring a bus are different from monitoring a car. And that brings in a different set of complexity. In fact, in the cab space nowadays, with the Olas and Ubers of the world coming into the mix, one cab owner will have multiple drivers working for the same cab, but working with different aggregators. So suddenly, it's not just about tracking the location of the vehicle. You also want to make sure under which aggregator it was flying at that point of time and who was driving it at that point of time. So just the complexities in the implementation. But then, before I go into the opportunities, let me show you what we have in Delhi. We've got a pretty strong framework created around this space. We empanel the device partners. As DIMTS, we want to create we want to play a neutral role. We want to create a level playing field for all the suppliers, manufacturers, suppliers, technology solution providers. So we have a framework for empaneling them. Those who get empaneled, the customer then gets a choice to select and buy a device from whom they want to buy, rather than we imposing or the government imposing any specific devices on them. So there is a strong framework in place for that. Once the devices how do we make sure that the devices actually get fitted in the vehicles who are plying on the roads? And that, so it's all linked to the permit process, annual processes. All of that framework is in place. The tracking solution itself, some of the screenshots you're seeing. There's a big operation center within the interstate bus terminal in Delhi from where all these vehicles are monitored. And then there is a lot of analytics around it. So that's just this is a quick view of, you can see a bus traveling on Delhi roads and at which bus stop it's stopping. All of that getting tracked every 10 seconds. This is the operation control center that we run in Delhi. But as I said, there are complexities around implementation. But then there are opportunities in this space. A lot of this has been said in the last 2 days. I'm not going to repeat much of it. But in the public service segment, if you see the top section, it is about smart transport planning and then adopting the technologies to help doing that. So you're not just talking of buses, you're talking of autos, cabs, metros, intercity, light rail transport, all of them getting integrated, and the complete transport planning has to be built based on that, on these activities. So in Delhi, for example, in the interstate bus terminal of Delhi, it has been recently redesigned and built by us, by DIMTS, and it caters to a metro station, the intercity bus station, interstate bus station, and now the light rapid between, with a few cities, light rail rapid transport is also coming up there. So all of that connected, working for the benefit of the customers. We talked about connected vehicles over the last couple of days. What's also important is that beyond just looking at how can we trace, how can we monitor, how can we improve our operational efficiencies, how can we make sure we are doing the right things for the commuters of the urban cities, we also want to make sure that we provide the technology in their hands as well to make sure that they are actually getting that last bit benefit And I'm going to cover, I've got a few slides on that, which I'll show you. So, beyond track and trace, there are a lot of things that we want to accomplish with this. It actually opens up a lot of opportunities. We talked about driver behaviors, driver habits, and safety, which is always paramount in this, particularly in the public service space, public service vehicle space. But we also want to make sure, so if you see this estimated time of arrival, in which city in India, or they would perhaps be nowhere in India, within a city bus service, where standing at a bus stop, you can actually get to know at an accuracy of plus minus 1 minute as to when your bus will arrive. It happens in railways, it happens in metros, because those are fenced environments and those are controlled environments. A bus doesn't apply in a controlled environment. There will be traffic, so jams, there will be accidents, there will be diversions because of roadworks, etc. So when you start bringing in all these complexities, and we have actually made this happen. So in Delhi, within the New Delhi metropolitan space, about 190 odd bus stops, you can actually get this information, which is actually happening currently. By virtue of monitoring 85,000 vehicles in Delhi, we actually have a very good traffic data of Delhi as well. So we do a lot of congestion analysis, etc. We determine what routes are better than the others. And so, going to our case study. We run a fleet of 1,500 buses in Delhi, local buses in Delhi, which is about 1/3 the overall fleet. And we do this on behalf of the Transport Department of Delhi, and that's the case study that I want to talk about in the next 4 or 5 slides. You must have heard of blue lines and red lines in the past of Delhi, the killer buses, right? That has all changed. That's how it used to be, and this is how now it is. We have remodeled that. We have taken away any incentives from the operators for them to do any rash driving. It's a totally different business model. I can talk, if you're interested, I can talk to you offline on that. But in the cluster, these orange buses that ply in Delhi, which we manage, are called cluster buses or orange buses, and we sort of manage the complete operations. They are much safer than what they were. The blue lines and the green lines were. I have some safety data which I can share offline as well. These buses have been fitted with GPS devices, based on which we track them from a command center, which I've told you about. And then we have a lot of other stuff that happens around analytics, around route analysis, bunching of buses, how traffic is impacting the bunching, because in a scenario around Delhi, today we ply about 1.3 million passengers every day. 13 lakh passengers take these buses every day. That's the size of the scale of operations. We are running for 1,500 buses, which typically run around 220 kilometers a day every day, right? And of these passengers, there are the unique passengers are 700,000 or 7 lakh unique passengers that we cater. But with the peak traffic loads of Delhi, morning and late evening, and a lot of buses which may have been spaced around, they start getting at the same point. So we do a lot of that kind of analysis to determine, and data speaks louder than words. I've specifically highlighted row number 8. The top line or profitability numbers compared to a comparable state transport undertaking. We have done 50% of better in the earnings per bus per day. All the other stats that you will look at in terms of earnings per kilometer to kilometer efficiencies to kilometers covered per day are all typically in the range of 20 to 40% better. Now, all of this has happened because we do a lot of those analytics, a lot of those through vehicle monitoring, through we're talking about, we also have electronic ticketing machines in these buses. So because of that, we know how many passengers are boarding the buses, at what stops, and when they get down. And all of this put together, we have been able to provide an excellent passenger information system. So one part that I talked to you about was operational efficiencies. This is the second most important thing, which is the passenger, giving information in the hands of the passenger. So today, if I were to commute in Delhi in a bus from place A to place B, I can, on a smartphone or through the web, get which bus should I take, when will the bus arrive, actually arrive, at whichever bus stop I decide to board it from. I will also know whether the bus will have any seats, which is very interesting. Now, I mean, looking at the context of Indian cities, you can actually find out whether you'll get a seat on that bus. Once you board the bus, you can actually know when will you reach your destination based on traffic data, and all of that is in your smartphone at your hands as a commuter. So we made all those kind of things possible. Whatever I just mentioned to you. We have a number of smartphone applications. The one on the right, your right, is Telltale. So extending the tracking functionality to women traveling late in the evening, to children traveling late in the evening or odd hours. They can actually get themselves tracked by their parents or brothers or sisters, or even by regulatory authorities if they choose to. And so real time, that information, which bus they are sitting in, where is that bus, at what point of time, and if they are in any hazard, they can actually shake the phone five times or 4 times, I can't remember that, but 4 or 5 times, and all these notifications will get sent out to all these people that they have enabled in their system, as well as to the police. In Delhi, if you need to haul an auto, if you just have to go to one of these apps, because we know the positions of all the autos, where they are at what point of time. You'll get to know all the autos in your vicinity. You click on any one of them, it'll display the number. So we have taken vehicle tracking beyond just the regulatory elements of vehicle tracking. We have gone through all the complexities that I told you about, vehicles getting stolen, pilferaged, etc. We've overcome those, and we have taken them to the next level of, all the way to building in operational efficiencies to providing information in the hands of the customers. And that, to me, is what the future will look like. And beyond, once we get from beyond vehicle tracking to CCTV solutions in buses, to PIS solutions, to PAS solutions, announcement solutions, to vehicle health diagnostic solutions. There's a lot that is going to happen in this space over the next few years. And at the end of the day, it's really going to, the intent for organizations like ours is really to make sure that all of this translates into a good, as they say, in the success of a public transport isn't about how well or how good it is for the not so well off people. It is about how many well off people start using it because it's good, and they don't, and they're willing to take any question.